Cumming, Georgia is one of the fastest growing cities in the entire state, and families are moving here from Florida, from Texas, from North Carolina, from California, all over the country. People even moving here from other spots in the metro area. But before you pack a box and start heading in this direction, you need to hear both sides, the pros and the cons, as to why you should or should not move to Cumming, Georgia. There are 5 things that people absolutely love about Cumming, and there are 5 things that people do not like. And when we get down to it at the very end, we'll talk about number 1, the reason why this may not be the right spot for you, or the reason why you need to call us, find your home today in Cumming, Georgia. This is an honest conversation we have with every family that asks us about moving to Cumming. So the pros, the cons, let's get going right now. So let's kick this off. Pro number 5. Go ahead, we're going to go 5 to 1. So number 5, one of the reasons you want to have Cumming on your list if you're looking to move into the North Atlanta area, neighborhoods. They've got some fantastic neighborhoods, and each one's a little different, each one's a little unique, but they all serve a purpose. I'll tell you what we're talking about. Something like a Windermere or a Polo Golf and Country Club, you're talking about big houses, you're talking about the big pools, golf courses within the neighborhood. You've got like all of that, okay? Then we're in a spot like right now, we're filming in the Chattahoochee River Club. Chattahoochee River Club, guess where it's located? That's right, on the Chattahoochee River. The cool thing about that is they actually have some options to where you can actually have like horseback riding through here. You have the opportunity to get down near the river, living in this neighborhood, okay? You also have some established spots like Fox Creek, which is like, you know, a neighborhood that's been there for like 30 or 40 years. We have a lot of those too. So the cool thing about Cumming is you've got a lot of very diverse neighborhoods. So whatever your family's looking for when they move here, if you're looking for just something quiet, maybe retire, have the grandkids come here, or you're looking for something that's a little bit more robust, lots of stuff to do. There's a lot of different neighborhoods that could help you get that done, okay? That's the cool thing about Cumming. There's a lot of diversity when it comes to the different types of neighborhoods that you can get when moving here. And price point is not as bad as some of the neighbors. Go down to Alpharetta, go down to Roswell, a little further down 400. Yeah, the prices here are a little bit better. Now, price is not all sunshine and roses. We'll talk more about that in just a couple of minutes. If you're looking for really good options for houses and really nice neighborhoods, you can't go wrong. All right. There is a flip side to that coin though, okay? Number 5, the con. Why you may want to think twice about it, HOAs. Okay, now, we just talked about some of the great neighborhoods that we've got here in the Cumming area, but the flip side of that is a lot of those neighborhoods come with an HOA. Okay, been doing this for a long time, and it's not just Cumming, but anywhere in the metro Atlanta area. A lot of folks are asking me, Steve, where can I get a really nice house, piece of land, put in a pool, all that stuff, and not deal with an HOA? Some people, they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with the hassle of having to ask to get their house painted, having to ask what kind of fence do I want to put in, having to ask, can I put a pool in, having to ask all this stuff. They just want to do it because they want, it's their house, they want to do it. In some ways, a lot of people don't mind an HOA. An HOA kind of keeps the neighborhood up and running. Everything looks nice. So there's kind of a give and a take. As we all know, some of those HOAs are a little bit crazier than others. So you'll have to look into it as we're looking at houses in the area. Start thinking about, you know, what makes the most sense. Is this HOA going to be compatible with what we want to do? Just keep that in mind. If you're looking to move to Cumming and you're looking for a neighborhood, more than likely it's going to have an HOA, something we're going to have to look into. All right, so we're moving to number 4 now. Pro number 4 for moving to Cumming. Man, Cumming's booming, dude. We got all kinds of stuff going on in Cumming. It was just a couple years ago, really didn't have a whole lot up here. We're standing right here at the Collection. You know the Collection. You know what is at the Collection? Everything. They got restaurants, they got movie theaters, they got the Whole Foods coming in right across the street. They got Academy Sports, and they've got clothing shops. They got everything here. The big like open air mall basically, but everything all the way, you know, down to Chick-fil-A. So anything that you want is right here at the Collection. Just out of here is Halcyon. Halcyon pulls in 3 million visitors a year. They have like 200 events a year at the Halcyon. And then right around the corner from here is the Cumming City Center. Cumming City Center just opened a few years ago. That's got that big amphitheater, got the big running space or play space for the kids, got restaurants, got shops, got all kinds of cool stuff. It's kind of a really cool like downtown type hangout. So between those 3, and I mean, you've got all kinds of stuff to do here now. So even though you're miles and miles away from downtown Atlanta and away from Buckhead and away from everything in the city, everything ITP as we call it here, because you're way OTP, way outside the perimeter, but man, you got everything to do right here in Cumming. That's why that's number 4. All right, there's a flip side though, number 4. So con number 4, we'll stay right here and talk about it. We talked a little bit about it in the last video. Now we're going to get into it. Sticker shock. Yeah, it's a little pricey here to live in Cumming. Not so much as like an Alpharetta or a Roswell, but definitely a little bit more expensive. Okay, so the median sale price in June of 2026, $612,000 in Cumming. Okay, that's the median. Pretty on par with where it was this time last year. But housing prices, the median has risen about $150,000 over just 5 years. So it was like $450 at the beginning of the pandemic. Now it's above $6. Yes, I think you get good value here compared to some of the other areas, but keep that in mind. If you want like a little bit more of an affordable house, a little bit more, I don't want to call it a starter home, but something that's a little bit easier on the pocketbook, maybe going a little further north, like a Dawsonville, or going back towards maybe like Sugar Hill, back into Gwinnett, maybe that's a little bit more of the play, okay? But I'll tell you what, for the price and for everything going on here, I think it's worth it. Like, to be honest, I live over in Gwinnett right now. We already have our eyes on moving to this area. We're gonna be moving to Cumming in the next couple of years, our family, because it just makes more sense for our family to move here. We've got our eyes on it for the next couple of years. But we are well aware of, we gotta pack our pocketbook to be able to come in here and buy a house, okay? Again, not as expensive as some of the spots down to the south of here, but medium home price values way up over the last few years. Before we finish up the countdown, do want to say real quick, if this is what you're looking for, do me a favor, hit subscribe. If you are moving to the area, but you're trying to figure out the right place to live, you're trying to figure out what right neighborhood to live, trying to figure out the right school system, things like that, you need help with it, if this is kind of what you're looking for, do me a favor, hit subscribe. We're going to be breaking down all these North Atlanta cities like Suwanee, Beaufort, Sugar Hill, Dawsonville, Jefferson. We're going to be doing all these cities, kind of breaking down the pros and the cons. We're going to be looking at neighborhoods. We're going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff. So if you are looking to make a move, whether it's out of state, or man, you just live somewhere else in the metro area and you're like, I need a new place to live, that's what we're doing. So hit subscribe and let's keep going. And remember, the number one reason you should move to Cumming, and one reason you may not want to, coming up in a few minutes. Stay with us. Back to the countdown. We're at number 3. Pro number 3. Why should you move to Cumming? Lake Lanier. It's Atlanta's playground. Lake Lanier is one of those things that people move to North Atlanta for. There are several cities that have borders on Lake Lanier, Cumming being one of them. 690 miles of shoreline on Lake Lanier. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind, right? Here's your little pro tip on Lake Lanier. Cumming is more on the west and on the south side of the lake. That's the busy side, closer to the dam. Not as bad as it is if you're over in Beaufort, but just keep in mind on the south side and the west side are a little bit busier than on the north side of the lake. Just keep that in mind if you're looking at spots. But that being said, we're here at Tidwell Park, right off of Pilgrim Mill. You drop your boat right here, get into the lake, okay? So you don't necessarily have to have a lake house to get in the lake, Lake Lanier. It's Atlanta's playground. Reason number 3 why you think about moving to Cumming. All right, so the con for moving, number 3, okay? Proximity to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Here's the thing I want you to think about. If you fly a lot, like if you fly like every week, twice a week, whatever it is, Hartsfield-Jackson proximity is important to you. Cumming may not be the play. 2 reasons why. Reason number 1, Hartsfield-Jackson International is on the south side of the city, all right? It's on the south side of the perimeter. It's not right in the middle of the city. It's way down on the south side. So you've already got to go through the city to get there, okay? So it is a haul without traffic to get to Hartsfield-Jackson. But here's the thing. If you live in, let's say, Cobb County, which is on the northwest side, or Gwinnett County, which is on the northeast side, you live in either one of those counties and you're going down to Hartsfield-Jackson, you don't necessarily have to go through the city. You can take 285 around and still end up there. There's really no way around it in Cumming. There's no easy way. You just gotta get on 400 and just pray everything comes together as you're going through the city. Keep that in mind. If being close to the airport is a very big deal for you, Cumming may not be the play. However, like we just talked about with Lake Lanier, you're like, you know what? I don't care if I'm in the car for 2 hours. I want to get on my boat and go jump on the lake over the weekend. Then you know what? Don't worry about it. But if proximity is important, keep that in mind. Hartsfield-Jackson is way, way, way down south from here. Moving to number 2, talking about the pro number 2, moving to Cumming. Lower taxes. Man, Forsyth County, definitely lower taxes in some of the neighboring counties. Let's break it down a little bit. The tax rate, about 0.6, 0.7%. If you got a $600,000 house, it's roughly like $3,600 to $4,200 a year in property taxes, okay? That's a lot better than some of the neighbors like Fulton County. Some of the homes in North Fulton County live in parts like Roswell or parts of Alpharetta that are in Fulton County. Yeah, taxes are much higher there, even a little bit better than it is over in Gwinnett right next door. Now, Here's the thing to keep in mind. If you are of retirement age in Forsyth County, once you get over 65, you can eliminate a lot of those taxes at retirement age. If you're in Gwinnett, it's based on the amount of money that you make per year. So you're gonna be able to write off all of those taxes. And North Fulton, yeah, if you're living in Fulton County, there's no break. Once you hit retirement age, you're still paying the school taxes. So Forsyth County, they do that. They allow for you to get rid of those school taxes once you hit retirement age, regardless of income. That's why a lot of the folks that I work with, that they've either lived in North Fulton, they lived in Gwinnett, but once they get close to retirement, they say to themselves, I'm going to Forsyth County. It's a lot better tax situation. Number two. So the flip side of that, con. Number two, school overcrowding. We may be talking more about schools here in just a couple minutes, but for now, we're going to talk about the overcrowding in schools because it is an issue here. So obviously, Forsyth County, the Cumming area, very popular. A lot of folks are moving here. Well, some of the schools are a little overcrowded. Some of them reporting 130 to 140% capacity right now in those schools. To Forsyth County's credit, they really do try to limit the amount of new construction. They're very tight on zoning. They're not trying to push a lot of new construction. But that being said, folks are moving here specifically for the schools. The schools are excellent. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, we may talk about that in number one. Shh, don't tell anybody. Schools are excellent. But so much so that that's the reason why the schools are overcrowded. Okay, so if that matters, give us a call because we can look at each individual school system, school by school, the elementary school, the high school, the middle school, to see, where are they on a capacity. But know that is an issue. So much so that it's number two. Before we get to number one, just want to say real quick, if you made it this far, I think that means that you really think about making a move to Cumming, okay? If that's the case, this is where I want you to either give me a call, shoot me a text, or go down below in the description and you can set up a time on my Calendly to set up a time to let's at least talk. Completely no obligation. It's just a fact-finding thing. Give us a call, shoot us a text, ask us questions because we know the area. I've lived in North Georgia for almost 40 years. My wife and I have lived here since we got married. We got 8 kids here. We know North Georgia. We know the North Atlanta area. So if you have questions, even if Cumming's not the play, if you're like, hey, this is more important to me, we know the area. That's why you give us a call. Again, text, call, subscribe, down in the description, set up a time through our Calendly link. Let's talk, okay? Because I want to get you home. It may not be to Cumming, but one of these spots in North Atlanta may be your home, okay? But Cumming's awesome. Let's finish up this video with the number one reason why you should, maybe the number one reason why you should pick Cumming. All right, we got to number one. We're gonna flip it for number one. We'll do the con first, then we'll do the pro second. May guess what the pro is based on where I'm standing, but let's talk about the con first. Big con, moving to Cumming. If you work in the city or you fly a lot, we talked about earlier, if you live in Cumming and have anything to do with needing to be in and out of Atlanta, traffic on 400 is a nightmare. Okay, and let's tell you why. If you lived in Gwinnett or you lived over in Cobb, all right, and you had to get out by 85 going northeast or 75 going southwest, you have some kind of secondary roads if things go a little crazy, right? If you in Cumming, there's really one way up, one way down. That's 400. Coming out of Atlanta, you come out of Atlanta, which is traffic, going through Buckhead, which is traffic, going through the perimeter area around Perimeter Mall, Sandy Springs, all that, traffic, up through Roswell, Alpharetta, traffic, to get up here into Cumming. There's a lot of traffic on 400. It seems to be always under construction too. Now, that being said, they are making improvements. They are doing some widening. They're adding more exits, things like that. So things are improving on 400, but be aware. 400 used to be called the Alpharetta Autobahn. Not quite so much anymore because it's more like a parking lot. I guess you get Autobahns every once in a while, but and it's not terrible. It's not quite as bad maybe on the weekends as maybe over on 85. Like I said, I live in Gwinnett. 85 is terrible on the weekends, no matter, weekends, mornings, evenings, overnight, it's terrible. 400, you get some breaks. But man, if you're leaving downtown around 4:30, 5 o'clock, trying to get into Cumming, pack some patience. Better have a podcast to listen to on the way home because it's going to be a while, okay? Now, if you're working Alpharetta, working in Roswell, something like that, maybe it's not that bad. Just keep that in mind. If the area is the most important thing and you can stomach that traffic, then there you have it. Then stomach that traffic. Just be aware, 400 is a mess. All right, so like we talked about, if you're moving to Cumming, the number one reason why you should probably think about it, if your family, schools. They've got some of the highest rated schools in the entire state of Georgia in Forsyth County. If you look at greatschools.org, they have the stats and they have their ratings. And again, It's their rating. So we're basing all of this on their ratings, but also basing this on some of the reviews that we've heard. And we know a lot of people live in the area and know these schools, okay? But based on what Great Schools says, they've got several schools, elementary, middle, and high schools that are either 8s, 9s, or 10s. High schools, you have 2 high schools that are 10s. One of them standing right in front of right here, South Forsyth. You got 1 9 and 2 8s. Middle schools, you got a 10, a 9, and 3 8s. When it comes to elementary schools, you have 2 10s, 7 9s, and 6 8s. You've got some really, really good schools. Can you find a spot that has like right here? You've got some really good schools like all the way up and down. Let's talk about it, okay? If you were to buy a house right here near South Forsyth High School, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at Shiloh Point Elementary School. That's a 9 out of 10. That'll feed into Piney Grove Middle School, which is 10 out of 10, and feeds you all the way up into South Forsyth High School, 10 out of 10. So you go from a 9 to a 10 to a 10 right here. You don't have to move. A lot of folks, they come in and they move their families because they have a good elementary school. Middle school might be a little bit of a mess. And they say, all right, we're gonna get them into the elementary school. Once we get close to middle school, we'll make the move. And then they end up having to make the move a couple times, whatever. And there are several different paths to get there, not just here, but all the other schools here in Forsyth County too. So we'll put the link below to greatschools.org, a link specifically to the Cumming area. So that way you don't have to go digging or whatever. It's specifically to the Cumming area. It's down below in the description, okay? Check that out. So check out all the scores of all the schools, what each school feeds into each other school, things like that. But schools, if that's important to you, important to your family, this is the place you want to be. Forsyth County schools, these schools are excellent here. If that's important to you, if that's like the #1 thing on your list, you really need to take a look. Cumming, Georgia. That's your #1. So there you have it, the top 5 list, the pros and the cons. Is Cumming right for you? As you just saw, if schools are important, if the home values are important, if access to the lake is important, if low taxes are important, man, there's a whole lot of things that are great about Cumming. But you saw the cons too. You're far away from Atlanta, you're far away from Hartsfield, Jackson. And schools are a little overcrowded in spots. Okay, so there's the yin and there's the yang. What's important to you? Give us a call. I'm going to put the number down below. Okay, call us or text us. That's what we're here for. And also subscribe, because when we're talking about all the different locations around here, okay, we're looking at all the different cities: Beaufort, Suwanee, Sugar Hill, Alpharetta, Dawsonville. Like, you're moving to North Atlanta, you want to know what each one of these suburbs has that's unique. And that's what we do here. Like I said, I've lived here for almost 40 years. Know this area. All right, so give us a call. We're going to help you find the best spot for you. I appreciate your time. This is Steve with the Milone Home Team, the Living in North Atlanta page from beautiful Cumming, Georgia. If you got questions, we got answers, let us know.